I'm Jason Rugaard of the Movie Mavericks podcast. Welcome to a special summer show. Each week, I'll be taking a look back to the summer of 1998. This was a box office season that was amongst the most competitive and influential in movie-going history. On each show, I'll be chronicling the performance, critical response, and historical relevance of the biggest hits and costliest misfires that shaped the summer of 1998. Our first film is Dr. Dolittle.
This year,
I'm gonna smack that mustache off your face.
Eddie Murphy's back.
You sure you're okay?
Mrs. Guess.
Whoa, you're telling me?
In the funniest movie of the year.
Is that the biggest bite you've ever seen?
He's a lunatic.
Eddie Murphy,
Come here and I'll get bubonic on you.
Dr. Dolittle.
Yeah, baby.
Stop talking to me!
Sorry.
After dipping his toe into PG-13 fare with The Nutty Professor, Eddie Murphy had once again proven himself to be a major box office superstar, and it also marked the official beginning of Eddie Murphy's comeback. However, the following year, in 1997, Metro was released to underwhelming audience reception. Although it's an overlooked and excellent film, that is an unlikely but successful pairing of Murphy and co-star Michael Rappaport. In 1998, Eddie Murphy decided to go full family film, a la Robin Williams, and found great success with the reimagining of Dr. Dolittle. While this is a remake of the 1967 Rex Harrison film, the two pictures are vastly different. Murphy's version is set in modern times, while the original is a Victorian-era set fable that is virtually unwatchable. The update utilized 1990s special effects advantages over 1960s practical effects. Dr. Dolittle debuted in the number one position on the weekend charts, taking in $29 million, or around $68 million today, making it a smash out the gate, the highest grossing first weekend of Murphy's career, and solidifying his return to the A-list. The film would spend 6 weeks in the top 10, amassing a whopping $144 million, or $350 million today, and doubling that total internationally. Dr. Dolittle would be the fourth highest grossing movie of the summer of 1998, and its popularity was no doubt boosted by a very successful accompanying soundtrack, featuring R&B hits from the era's most prominent artists. The album sold over 2 million copies domestically, with hits like Are You That Somebody by Aaliyah and Same Old G by Genuine. Eddie Murphy's version of Dr. Dolittle was so well received by the masses and by the critical community that this fruitful excursion into toned-down comedic feature films would turn out to be a velvet cage for the screen comedian. He would then spend the next decade almost solely working in the genre to various degrees of success. For every hit like Dr. Dolittle 2, The Haunted Mansion, or Daddy Daycare, there were embarrassing flops like Holy Man, Pluto Nash, 1,000 Words, and Imagine That. I was dragged to this movie by my girlfriend at the time. She was a huge animal lover, and the only reason I agreed was because we planned on sneaking into another movie afterwards. Even with my hostility towards the movie, it gradually began to win me over, and by the 30-minute mark, I was laughing and getting involved with the events unfolding. I haven't ever revisited Dr. Dolittle. I skipped the dreadful-looking 2021 reimagining with Robert Downey Jr. But nearly 30 years removed from that screening, I still recall being delighted by Murphy and his pets, real or computer-generated. The acting talent that Murphy possesses wouldn't be on display until his Oscar-nominated supporting act for Dreamgirls in 2006, losing to Alan Alda. Some speculate because of the offensive trailer and billboards around LA for Norbit. But ironically, Norbit would turn out to be the last box office hit for Eddie Murphy as of this recording.
Eddie Murphy treats an obsessive-compulsive pooch, one of the many animals he develops a special relationship with in our next film, Dr. Dolittle, a comic remake of the 1967 musical, and I think I expected a lot more, specifically a lot funnier and maybe even more charming movie from Eddie Murphy, but I had a ho-hum reaction to this picture, which for me could have been renamed The Animals Yell at Dr. Dolittle and He Yells Back. Obviously, this film is going to draw children, and although it has been rated PG-13, I was stunned by the amount of anal rectal humor in the film. I'll bet, and this is not an exaggeration, I'll bet a full quarter of the gags were centered on the animal's hindquarters. Wow, did that get tiresome. But I thought more could have been made of the Dolittle family relationships. How about the daughter taking Dad to show and tell at school? How about him becoming a national celebrity after appearing on the stupid pet trick segment of The Late Show with David Letterman? And then both he and the animals have to deal with performance anxiety. And the reason I'm thinking of all of these ideas is because I think the screenplay is bereft of them. This Dr. Dolittle, save for an occasional moment when Eddie Murphy's smile and charm does light up the screen, is just a lot of yelling and, as I've said, toilet humor.
I don't know if you're reviewing the movie or writing the sequel to it, because, you know, talking about the movie that I saw in the theater the other night, I had a wonderful time, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very funny. Now, there is some gross-out humor, but it's the kind of humor kids like. They like bathroom jokes. They enjoy that stuff. And it wasn't really in bad taste.
Repeatedly, Roger? I mean,
it wasn't that repeatedly. There was a whole lot of different kind of humor in there. For example, I love it when the kid, when his dog tells him, you know, why dogs sniff each other, and so he tries the same approach to the principal. You got to admit that was funny.
Yeah, again, and where is the nose, Raj?
I'm suggesting that's where the nose was. You've got to admit that was funny.
I'm telling you, that's the humor. You know, take away his rectal thermometer, and this guy doesn't have a gag left.
The rectal thermometer sequence was hilarious. It was hilarious, Gene.
Okay.
This movie is fun.
Our next film is Out of Sight.
No bills off the bottom of the drawer, please. It's your first time being around me? You're doing great. Thank you. Have a nice day.
You too.
I think you flooded it.
Get out of the car, sir.
Well, you're the reason, my friend, that I don't keep all my money in the bank.
Be surprised what all you can get and ask for it the right way.
It's okay, we're the good guys.
What are you doing here?
You're just a girl. What do you do for a living? You pack a shotgun.
I'm a federal marshal and you're under arrest.
I'm in. Let's go.
Hey, you comfy?
You have got to be kidding.
Now, you be a good girl now. I'm going to open up the trunk.
Hey! You want to sit down and have cocktails with a woman who tried to shoot you.
It was an unusual experience. Oh, what, one last score? Retire to some island, is that the idea?
Partial to mountains myself. If you like islands, we're picking an island. Not exactly a 9 to 5 type.
Who is? Here, ma'am, let me help you with these.
Now, I didn't ask for your help, so don't expect a tip.
Oh, that's okay, ma'am. I'll just take your car.
I've vertically integrated myself. You know, now I'm into the occasional grand larceny, home invasion.
You waved at you?
Couldn't swear to it, but I'm pretty sure you did.
Did you wave back?
Jeez, they're shooting men.
Sit down, Dick. They're trying to open up the safe. Now you're made. Ever wear one of these?
I don't ski.
I'm a federal officer. I can't handle myself. We wanted to tussle. We tussled.
Whoops.
Damn it, Jack. Put the gun down.
You wouldn't do that.
Oh, why not?
Because you're having too much fun.
Smatters in the making. You gotta fight the powers that be. Got it, baby.
The pairing of sexy actors George Clooney and Jennifer Lopez in a laid-back, lushly photographed crime thriller proved to be an irresistible tease for mature audiences tired of special effects-driven blockbusters. Elmore Leonard's novels had been adapted to the screen before. Burt Reynolds tried in 1985 with the uneven action thriller Stick, while Tarantino had more success merging his style with Leonard's in 1997 with Jackie Brown, which I consider to be QT's weakest film. So, when former Cannes Film Festival wonderkin Steven Soderbergh signed on to helm the film for Universal Pictures, the auteur, known for his esoteric independent cinema, was taking his shot at A-list status. Today, Clooney and Lopez are superstars, but in 1998, they both only had one leading credit apiece, Selena and Batman, and neither were considered bankable, which led to initial pushback from the studio and marketing departments. A compromise was reached when the director agreed to surround the two virtually unproven leads with a very capable supporting cast that included Ving Rhames, Don Cheadle, Steve Zahn, Albert Brooks, and Dennis Farina, to name a few of the familiar faces that appeared. Out of Sight opened on June 19, 1998 and slotted fourth for the weekend with a take of $12 million, or about $28 million in today's money. The movie would spend just 3 weeks in the top 10, quickly losing its audience due to either the complex and some would say convoluted storytelling techniques and expectations had set it up as a cousin to Pulp Fiction, which made those that made the trip to the theaters complain about a bait and switch. Ultimately, the final domestic gross would be $37 million, or $90 million today with inflation, which was less than the $48 million Universal shelled out to make it, and that didn't include the additional expenditure of marketing and prints. Eagle-eyed viewers will spot Michael Keaton in the film briefly reprising his character from Jackie Brown, making the Soderbergh-Tarantino connection even more confusing. Was Out of Sight a sequel, a side story, a prequel? I saw Out of Sight in cinemas with my girlfriend as payback for enduring that Dr. Dolittle screening earlier in the weekend. I recall us both being enchanted with the leads and sometimes hypnotic vibe of the film, but the story was unfocused and too many characters fought for screen time to establish themselves and their motivation. The film has remained for me, after subsequent viewings, to be a near miss, a movie that I admire for its style, but is brought down by a lethargic tone that hangs over the entire production. While the movie is considered a financial failure, Out of Sight would turn out to be the first of several collaborations between George Clooney and Steven Soderbergh, and the Ocean's trilogy is a direct result and arguably a continuation of the visual style set by Out of Sight. That cool detached style is just too cool and too detached for me on this one.
Siskel and Ebert. I'm Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune.
And I'm Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times. A lot of movies have imitated Pulp Fiction, but Steven Soderbergh's Out of Sight is the first one to understand it and build on it in an original way. It's another one of those movies about colorful criminals where the timeline coils back and forth between the present and the past. The movie is based on an Elmore Leonard novel and realizes that for Leonard, the plot is much less important than relishing the characters and the way they talk to one another. Out of Sight is an example of the right actors in the right movie at the right time. Clooney and Lopez have a nice, unforced, colorful intimacy throughout the film, and both of them seem utterly confident of their comic powers so that they never force anything. They let the laughs and Leonard's dialogue develop naturally. The movie was directed by Steven Soderbergh, and it's his best since Sex, Lies, and Videotape, which was nearly 10 years ago. It's tricky the way the movie's timeline doubles back on itself so that you leave the theater still trying to figure out exactly what happened when. I think this is one of the year's best entertainments.
Well, I want to focus on something you said, which is that it's less about a plot than about the characters. And frankly, I wish you would give that speech in every theater in which this film plays, because I think a lot of people are going to be confused.
Really?
Oh, yes. I mean, I was sitting there and basically, you know, wondering, what's this about? Because of the number of, as you said, colorful characters. I mean, that's the real essence of the film, is just this parade of characters. I mean,
actually, that makes this the most faithful movie yet, based on an Elmore Leonard novel. And I read all of his books, and he just loves to get into the situations. People sit around and talk, and the plot is kind of held over till the next chapter. And by the time they finally get around to raiding the guy's house and so forth, it's more like how the characters interact there than whether or not they get the diamonds. And I like that.
Yeah, but it can be disturbing or difficult for an audience that isn't prepared for it.
Yeah.
I'm not asking for a more conventional film. I wouldn't want to do that by saying that there should be a through line, as they say in a script, you know, here. So, but it could use something approaching that, because otherwise it's just
but it's a movie for smart people. I mean, it's not just for your caper, crime, action, car chase movie.
I think you just congratulated yourself with that remark, didn't you?
Thank you.
Thank yourself. You said it, not me.
Our last film is Armageddon.
It's an asteroid. Not a soul on Earth can hide from it.
How you feeling? Good, considering I've never been this scared in my entire life.
He had the courage to go, the will to fight, and the reason to come back. Bruce Willis, Liv Tyler, and Ben Affleck in a Jerry Bruckheimer production, directed by Michael Bay. Armageddon, rated PG-13, starts Wednesday, July 1st.
It's a meteor shower.
This new one you're tracking.
It's the size of Texas, Mr. President.
On July 1st,
the United States government just asked us to save the world.
Prepare to fight like there's no tomorrow.
Think we'll get hazard pay out of this?
You're already heroes. Just sit back and enjoy the ride.
Bruce Willis, Liv Tyler, Ben Affleck.
We never quit!
Armageddon, a Jerry Bruckheimer production, directed by Michael Bay. Starts Wednesday, July 1st at a theater near you.
Bruce Willis's diva annex caused the hockey comedy Broadway Brawler to shut down after 25 days into production. Lawsuits were quickly filed, and the movie star, riding a string of so-so performing films like Last Man Standing, The Jackal, and Mercury Rising, Willis needed a hit movie, and an ugly public courtroom battle with Hollywood Pictures' parent company Walt Disney Pictures was not something that was going to keep him on the A-list, as the 1990s were coming to an end, and the era of the action hero was quickly being redefined by intruders to the genre like Nicolas Cage, Keanu Reeves, and Mark Wahlberg. So, legal agreements were reached that resulted in Willis doing 3 movies for Disney at $3 million apiece: Armageddon, The Sixth Sense, and The Kid. This deal was a masterstroke by the Disney brass. Armageddon was the highest grossing movie of 1998 on a worldwide basis. The Sixth Sense became a global phenomenon, and The Kid was a modest but decent-sized hit that proved profitable before it even hit home media and ancillary revenue streams. Fact is that Willis's precarious situation catapulted him back to superstardom and positioned him better to take on the changing industry as it entered the millennium better than rivals Stallone or Schwarzenegger. Michael Bay, the flashiest director since Tony Scott, was vastly becoming the most sought-after director for bombastic action films that would appeal to youth and adult demographics. Willis's notorious ego and demanding nature on set was met with the bullheadedness and arrogance of Michael Bay. Bay had just come from shooting The Rock with the always curmudgeon-y Sean Connery, so Bruce's bitching and complaining was probably easy to deal with in comparison. Tense behind-the-scenes footage has been released in which Willis declares there's no movie if he walks, and Bay flatly states, without missing a beat, that Kevin Costner can be there by the end of the day. It's a 1990s power play that worked in the director's favor, as shooting resumed and the film was brought in on time and budget. Armageddon, with a production cost of $140 million, was one of the most expensive movies of the 1990s. With a sky-high cost for marketing, and coming just a few months after Deep Impact, executives were more than concerned about their tentpole summer release. Armageddon would premiere in theaters on July 1st, 1998, taking the coveted July 4th weekend spot, which is typically reserved for the summer's biggest hit. Opening on a Wednesday gave the film a head start into the long holiday weekend and a chance to build good word of mouth. It won the weekend with $36 million, or about $82 million today, and amassed $54 million by the end of that Wednesday to Sunday stretch. But this was viewed as an underperformance. Particularly concerning was that Deep Impact debuted to $41 million over the 3-day weekend back in May. A wave of industry reporting and Monday morning quarterbacking was done. The film was already being labeled a disaster. But a funny thing happened. Aerosmith released their cover of I Don't Want to Miss a Thing. The song would become an instant smash hit on radio and MTV, which kept the movie fresh in the public's mind. The song would be Aerosmith's first and only #1 hit, which propelled the soundtrack to multi-platinum selling status. This constant exposure helped buoy the film, which despite a heavily crowded marketplace would remain in the top 10 grossing films for the next 2 months. Disney was very pleased when the film totaled out to $200 million domestic, or around $500 million for today's money, and another $352 million abroad, one of the highest foreign grosses for any film of the decade. It ended out its run at $553 million in 1998 dollars. While critics bashed the film, its craftsmanship would be recognized with 4 Oscar noms: Best Sound Editing, Best Visual Effects, and Best Song, winning none. Armageddon proved to be a juggernaut on home media with a best-selling VHS and then DVD, which became a video store staple during that era. A piss-poor video game adaptation was released for the PlayStation, and a novelization was written, but there was no major toy line associated with the movie, something that Independence Day had a few years before. Rewatching it today, it's clear that Armageddon is the film in which the Bayham style of rapid cuts, sweeping camera moves, slow-motion hero shots, and over-the-top sentimentality all became Michael Bay trademarks. The melodramatic ending scene, which was a tearjerker in theaters, has been parodied by both South Park and Family Guy. Armageddon was one of the most bombastic of the 1990s disaster movies, often referred to as the worst movie ever made and one of the most entertaining movies ever made. I saw the flick twice in theaters, and it only reinforced my admiration for Bay's visual storytelling and for giving audiences something to cheer for in the otherwise downbeat summer. The film's pop rock ballads, blue-collar heroes, and that apocalyptic visuals all defined late 90s cinema spectacle. That will do it for today's show. Join me next week when we find out if Riggs and Murtaugh really are too old for that shit. Tommy Lee Jones voices a militant, murder-minded toy, and the youngest kid from Mrs. Doubtfire gets her shot at headlining. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.